This lecture draws upon the work of Alexandre Havard, who wrote the book Virtuous Leadership, an Agenda for Personal Excellence, a few years ago. Havard was born in France to Russian parents. He has practiced law, and he now lives in Russia. This book grew out of a lecture series that Havard gave. He has also established the Virtuous Leadership Institute, a worldwide organization that promotes the ideas explained in this book. The University of Mary has a Virtuous Leadership specialization within its MBA program, as well as a separate Virtuous Leadership certificate that can be earned by completing a sequence of courses taught by the Virtuous Leadership Institute and UMary faculty. Additionally, the Virtue Through Sport program based on Virtuous Leadership principles has been established for UMary athletics. Let's begin with a definition of leadership. We all have an idea of what it means to be a leader. It means, typically, being in charge of something, say, a project or other people. It means taking responsibility for things outside oneself. Leadership, however, is truly something a little different. It is about character. In fact, it is character. Leadership is about achieving greatness by bringing out the greatness in others. Management is about getting things done. Leadership is about helping people to grow. American civil rights activist and Christian minister Martin Luther King Jr. gave a public speech in August of 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., in which he called for civil and economic rights and an end to racism in the United States. This is one of the most famous parts of the speech. Character is what determines the quality of a leader and his or her leadership. So, what is the content of character? It should be virtue. It could be the opposite, which is vice, or, as is true of most of us, it's a combination of the two. We strive to cultivate virtue and root out vice. So, what is virtue? Virtue is moral excellence. The word virtue is taken from the Latin word vir. It's the word for man, as in an adult human male. The ancients recognized virtues as desirable manly qualities. Obviously, they're qualities that are good for women, too. Virtues are not static. They are forces within a person that enhance his or her ability to make decisions and to take action. Human virtues are important for leadership. There are many virtues, and they can be divided into human virtues and theological virtues. Here is a definition of human virtues. The first point, we don't automatically have human virtues. They are acquired by effort. They are the fruit and seed of morally good acts. Human virtues make it easier to choose the good, which leads to joy. They dispose all the powers of the human being for communion with divine love. They are the foundation upon which the theological virtues are placed and can be cultivated. In considering leadership, we will focus on 6 virtues: humility, magnanimity, and the set of 4 virtues known as the cardinal virtues. By considering humility. Humility isn't exactly the same thing as being humble, saying, "Oh, I'm nothing, I have no talents," or "I'm not worth noticing in any way." Rather, humility is recognizing and acknowledging the truth about oneself, being honest about one's gifts, as well as one's shortcomings. It is the habit of living in truth and in service to everyone around us, as a natural result of the practice of this virtue. It helps us to stop thinking so much about ourselves and be able to focus on others and to see their needs. It permits us to serve without placing limits on our generosity. Magnanimity is based on the combination of 2 Latin words, magna and anima, which means great soul. It means greatness of spirit. True greatness is not about conquering an empire. It is about human, spiritual growth. Magnanimity is certain that human beings are capable of excellence, great things. Consequently, it inspires us to aim high, to challenge ourselves and others to aspire to do good, noble things. Now we consider the cardinal virtues. The word cardinal is taken from cardinalis, serving as a hinge. Cardinal now means something pivotal, by implication crucial or very important to a larger system or endeavor. The cardinal virtues are prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. We consider each one in turn. Prudence is the quality that allows one to make the right decisions. We can see that it's based on both humility and magnanimity. Deliberation is the first important point. Secondly, we need to exercise judgment. And thirdly, to make decisions. The second cardinal virtue is justice. Justice is habitually giving every person his or her due. It governs a person's relations with community as well as with himself. It's rooted in the dignity of the human person, not in civil law or public opinion. Human rights are inscribed in our human natures. We strive for the common good. Leaders are individuals, not individualists. We tend to be very good at taking care of our own interests and forgetting about those of others. But we are social beings. When others flourish, our community flourishes, and we flourish. Everybody wins. We concretely advance the common good by doing what we're supposed to do, as well as we can. We work with professionalism. We see it as service to others. Fulfilling our duties means keeping things in the right order. Personal commitments, such as to our families, come first, then comes work. This is justice. Judging how to make all of this work and happen requires prudence. The third of the cardinal virtues is fortitude. This is not the same as fearlessness. Fortitude, the word, comes from fortis, which means strength. Sometimes, if someone is fearless, it means that the person hasn't sized up a situation correctly, which may be dangerous. Courage means self-sacrifice in order to achieve prudent and just goals. Prudence and justice lay down groundwork for the virtue of fortitude to grow. Being a terrorist, for example, is not courageous. That's the opposite of fortitude. Being a stoic is not courageous. A stoic values sacrifice, but there is no noble goal that goes alongside it. To exercise virtue requires having a good in mind. Endurance is one of the qualities that goes along with fortitude, but it is not passive. It requires spiritual strength. Leaders that live endurance maintain the integrity of their consciences even in times of trial. It also requires constancy, that is, not sacrificing truth or principles to shifting winds of public opinion or fashion. Fortitude requires boldness and daring. It is sometimes necessary to take risks. It means converting purpose and vision into action. It's necessary to have clarity in both these areas to be able to act when the time comes. Fortitude also requires persistence. There will always be obstacles, both internal, due to our own defects, or external, due to factors beyond our control. Leaders are willing to keep trying. They are determined to persevere. The last of the cardinal virtues is temperance. Temperance is self-control. If we want to lead others, we need to lead ourselves first. It goes along with humility. We see that we are limited human beings. Intemperance means we get attached to things, pleasures. There is no room in our hearts for humility or magnanimity. Intemperance undermines other virtues. If we live temperance, others will have more confidence in the example we set. It makes them believe that in general, we make good decisions. Self-control means we are masters of our passions. We are not tied down by our desires, by things that are passing. This gives us tremendous freedom, which we can use to advance the good. We need to control anger. There is a time and place for it, but not every time we feel wrathful. We also need to put aside envy, focusing on gratitude for our blessings. Finally, while study is a virtue, because it is intellectual self-improvement, curiosity is not. Leadership is a way of being. It can be lived by everyone, no matter his or her place in society or in any given organization. Leadership is not about rank or position or being on top of the heap. Leadership is not reserved for the elite. It is a vocation not of the few, but of the many. We spread a vision of leadership which is consistent with the highest demands of human nature and the noblest aspirations of the human heart. One of the things that's emphasized at the University of Mary is servant leadership. Here is a quote from Sister Thomas Welder, former president of the University of Mary, about servant leadership. You see the image at the top of this page shows Christ washing the disciples' feet. And this is an image to keep in mind, that leaders are servants.